Retaliation.
China has sharply accused the United States of severely violating a recently struck trade truce and warned that it will take strong measures to protect its economic interests. In a statement released Monday, China's Ministry of Commerce said the United States has seriously undermined the agreement reached during the May trade talks in Geneva, where both sides agreed to lower tariffs on imported goods. The ministry also pointed to what it called a severe breach of the consensus reached between President Xi Jinping and Donald Trump during a phone call back in January. These statements come just days after President Trump, speaking at a rally in Pittsburgh, claimed that China had totally violated its agreement with us. He did not offer specifics at the time, but his trade representative, Jameson Greer, later clarified that Beijing had failed to remove non-tariff barriers as agreed. Under the truce negotiated last month, the United States had lowered tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% to 30%. In response, China reduced its tariffs on U.S. imports from 125% to 10%. However, Beijing now accuses the U.S. of breaking the spirit and letter of the deal, pointing to recent restrictions imposed on Chinese tech companies. These include halting sales of U.S.-made chip-designed software to Chinese firms, issuing warnings against the use of Huawei-made semiconductors, and canceling student visas for Chinese nationals. The Geneva Agreement had surprised many analysts, given how far apart the two sides seemed on key trade issues. But the successful face-to-face talks gave some hope for longer-term cooperation. Now, as the rhetoric intensifies, the fragility of the current truce has been exposed. It raises questions about whether a more permanent deal is even possible. Despite the escalating war of words, there may still be a diplomatic off-ramp. Two top U.S. officials have hinted that President Trump and Xi Jinping may speak soon. Treasury Secretary Bessent told CBS News that the remaining issues could be ironed out once the two leaders talk, though no date has been set. Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council, told ABC News that both sides have shown a willingness to talk and a conversation is expected this week. Still, Hassett also cautioned that Washington must be ready in case things don't happen the way we want. Meanwhile, China has signaled it prefers working-level agreements to be finalized before presidential-level talks. Further complicating matters, Trump announced last week that the U.S. will double its tariffs on steel and aluminium from 25% to 50% starting Wednesday. At the Pittsburgh rally, he said this move would strengthen the domestic steel industry and cut down dependence on China. As trade tensions flare once again, all eyes are now on whether Trump and Xi will step in to prevent another economic showdown.